Welcome everyone to a new episode of the NovaVis Conversations. Let me start. Most of us through our days surrounded by or move through our days surrounded by screens, schedules, notifications, and an endless list of things that need our attention. We optimize our calendars, we respond to messages and move from one responsibility to the next. And somewhere along the way, without really noticing, we stop paying attention to much simpler things, like the scent of a tree, or the sound of wind moving through the leaves, or the feeling of standing still long enough to actually hear ourselves think. Something interesting happens when you step into a forest and slow down, really slow down. Your senses wake up again, your breathing changes. Often something inside you becomes quiet enough to finally speak. That's exactly what today's conversation is about. Hello again. My name
Hi.
is Leonie, one of the founders of NovaVis. Today I'm joined by Mirna, our host for the Forest and Aroma journey during the NovaVis program in Croatia. And I'm also joined by Anastasia, the co-founder. Anastasia, maybe we can start with you because the idea behind NovaVis really began with these kind of questions. Could you share a little bit how and why we started NovaVis?
Absolutely. And Leonie, you said it very well in your introduction. So the a chance to give yourself life with a different rhythm and with a different, let's say, connection to yourself and the reality around you is something which we lose very often in the way our modern life is organized. So my personal connection to Croatia and Grbaščica was already there when we decided to start this NovaVis program. So I was not looking for any new business idea. Our family is running this hotel where we host this program. So my love and my loyalty and my, let's say, soul has been or had been already with that place for at least a decade. And indeed, so very often, and I saw it in my own life, we run without noticing that we run, really in the opposite direction away from our roots. And I mean, I remember myself being a teenager and having this dream to build somewhere a house where I could invite all my friends from all places and all parts of my life. Yeah, somehow this always existed in the back of my head. And then going through my life, I was noticing that I start losing this connection with myself, and I start losing my intuition, and I start losing my own trust in my own decisions, which I think a lot of people can relate. So, and Leon, you were there when we started to discuss this thing, how to give this experience to more people. So the experience of the place and then experience of different things you could do. So Mirna will be talking about the forests and the lavender fields, and we have other hosts with yoga and meditation, which feels so natural to be done on the beach. So for me, I kind of have the luxury to feel this, when I spend time in Grbaščica, I do this sporadically for myself, but maybe we can do it a little bit in a more organized way for a group of friends and our guests.
Very good. Thank you for that, for the story. And yes, like we all said before in one of the previous podcasts, we're not doing this alone, as also Anastasia mentioned. one of the beautiful things about the NovaVis program is that it's a collaboration with a group of incredible hosts and with their own perspectives and expertise into the experience. It's like you already mentioned someday. Feels like different pieces of a puzzle coming together. And yeah, we have ghost guiding yoga and movement, the horse guided sessions, creative masterclasses, and of course, with Mirna, the experience in nature. So, Mirna, maybe this is a nice moment to bring you in. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you will do, what people will experience when you were there?
So hello to everybody. My name is Mirna Milkovic and I'm phytoaromatherapist. In reality, I grew up with my mom and I started to learn about plants when I was just a small kid. So I was always behind her when she was picking up edible plants and so on, because she's truly a nature lover. And I just picked it up. Probably it's something that I was born with, that attraction for the nature and everything about nature and science behind it and microscopes. And I had a lab when I was a small kid. So I started practically when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. I don't even remember.
Wow.
The first plants that I truly knew how to recognize the name, they are good for this and that. Then we would go to the mountain and picking up wild plants for the tea in the wintertime. So I lived that kind of life. I also had the possibility with her to swim in Grebashnica. That's the news. And that was a big part of my life too. And I have to tell you that Grebashnica have incredible sites for diving. It's such a meditation to go over there. Beautiful turquoise color of water, crystalline, and that's another world too. Even the coastal line is full of the plants that are incredible. They're edible, they're good for this or that. So truly, my entire life I lived with the plants, with the nature in all of its forms, even when I was in Italy, even when I was living another type of life. I was designer for the window shops and for the events. I lived a much more urban style of life, stressful, quite, traveling with the train and to the work and so on. Crossroads of the life, I went back in Croatia. I left that creative side of me and I started to form my own business, and I truly picked up all of the aspects that I lived through all of my life. So there we go, crossroads of the life. They are sometimes intentional, no, sometimes they are hiding behind completely unexpected moments, like one photo that you look up and you understand that was the moment that your life changed forever, and you didn't had any idea about it, that is coming on to you. So life is a beautiful journey. My life is always connected with the nature, is because it still is. I still live that way in the sense that I started with my mom. It was normal to go in the morning in the woods nearby the Zadar and picking up wild asparagus. This is the moment right now. So it's a habit also, because I do have that habit. For me, it's normal. I always cut out the time for something like that. So that's something that is not magical, something that we can all have on our hands. And there is much more to say about nature, that have a huge impact on all of us. There are some facts about our bodies that, We have legs, we have hands, and that's normal for us. We always forget about, for example, that we have amygdala. Amygdala is small organelle in the brain. That one is telling you, okay, this is flight or fight situation, and it's coming up when you are underneath the stress, and that's something that we all know from minute to minute everyday life. And it's always present. Amygdala is always present, judging, is this situation dangerous or is it not? Judging, for example, this podcast that I'm doing right now, and I'm quite reserved person. For me, it's a little bit stressful, but if I interpret this as an opportunity to share with people, to give them something at least, and to show them beauty of the nature or something like that, if I have this in my head voluntarily, not something subconsciously, then amygdala is calming down immediately, and you're okay. Amygdala is also an organelle that is calming down immediately the second you start to move. That's why kids are, when they are stressed, they are going back and forward, that motion. We start to walk around with our phones in our hands and so on. So walking as intentional moving in the nature, and our bodies belong to the nature, we are not separate from it, brings us back to our roots and to calm. And that's something that is completely scientifical, and it's something that it's normal. Same way our hands or our legs are part of our body, also amygdala is. And we have to take in consideration that this is truly happening. It's not only in our heads. If we take a point of view about everything that is surrounding us, that is happening to us, that way, then maybe we can breathe a little bit better and maybe go to the nature in every form, like sea in the Bashnitsa, or just walking on the seashore, or going with the horses, or just take a moment with Tatiana, master classes. The art is incredible. That's therapy that on its own. So there are so many forms in our lives that can just bring us to the place where we stop, think for the moment, breathe, and instead of flight or fight, just be. That's a pause that we all need.
That sounds exactly what I was thinking. One of the questions that popped up in my head, which you already answered, was, do you think people today have forgotten how powerful their senses actually are, or what happens when they lay down the phone and start looking? But that's exactly what you just mentioned, to have a pause again.
Look, we live surrounded by the noise, because city is something man-made. It's sort of artificial, because there is nothing artificial on this planet. Everything belongs to this planet. If we manage to create cities, it's good for us. It's not something bad. But the fact that we made cities that are not actually perfect for our health, like too much cement, the nature is inserted in the city as something aesthetic, instead of cities being immersed into the nature. That would be much better way of life. But our bodies are true. They are not something that we imagine. We have to deal with it, and it's just simple fact of the life. So touch is beautiful, sight is beautiful, hearing stuff. It's a beautiful journey on this planet. So even in the cities, maybe there is so much noise, of course, television, computers, people talking. We don't even hear a noise behind us, like car passing and so on. But you can also just step out for the moment and go outside the city in first forest that you find. That's also good therapy. But yeah, noise. Noise is noise is truly ugly beast.
I think we can all agree with that. Yes. All right. So thank you for that mind-opening introduction. I think now in our previous episode we shared a little bit about our own experiences, and I think it would be nice to do that here as well, because NovaVis also didn't start as a business idea, but it really started from our own or personal journeys. So I will start with mine. For me, that wasn't a single moment or a clear event, but over a period of time, quite a lot of things started shifting at once in work and family, personal life. None of them very dramatic on their own, or some could be, but at least at that point, together they created this feeling that the ground underneath was moving a little, and what made it a bit confusing was that it didn't feel like a clear crisis, but I felt that, or it wasn't something where you could point to one of the problems and say that's it, but it was all of it at once. Things were happening around me and inside me. The energy felt different. My body asked for attention, and I realized that I was continuing to function, doing what needed to be done, but I felt disconnected. And I think many people could recognize that moment when life keeps moving forward inside you. This you're trying to understand what still fits, what doesn't. And for me, the period became less about finding quick answers, but more about creating the space to slow down and listen again. So what happened when we were visiting Croatia, that there was space to think and to listen. Sitting on the balcony watching the sea, that was fantastic. And it slowed me down. And it gave me the chance to listen to what was going on beneath my own surface. Sometimes the signal isn't a crisis, it's just a quiet feeling that something inside you needs attention. Anastasia, can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, I will in a moment. I was now thinking maybe we can ask Mirna to tell us if, Mirna, have you seen, I want to say people like Leonie, but people with this kind of state of mind and state of soul coming to you, and what happens to them when they're working with you in the forest, and when they are making their own oils from the plants. What happens? Do they come out different? Can you tell us? And then I will tell my experience as well.
Sure.
Well, I'm one of them. I'm one of you. I'm feeling completely same. That's like cascading life, and we all have it in our life, one form or another, and it's going on and on. It's never-ending story, because this journey is about some experiences in the life. So yeah, I'm like you, completely same. And I can truly feel what you are saying, because each day for me is same thing. I didn't find any answers. I don't have any wisdom to share with you. I can only tell you that when you go into nature and you have that full immersion, and in the mountain, for example, we don't have a cell phone signal, so phone is off. And when your mind is completely coming to the terms, there is no phone, there is no signal. After first half of an hour of the panic, pure panic, people calm down and they just start to go in the field or in the woods behind that hut that we have over there, and exploring a little bit around and finding interesting some moss or some plant or some mushroom or simple stuff like that. When I'm making my workshops with the essential oils and carrier oils and so on, basically those are the phytoaromatherapy products. You are working with the essence of the plant. So those essences have so many dimensions. First of all, of course, there is a medical one, in sense we cannot ignore. They're entering our bodies, they're entering our bloodstream, and they're entering our neurotransmitters in the mind, central nervous system, and so on. Those things you have to count in this experience, and they're changing stuff. Truly something material, biological. Then there is that dimension of just relaxing and being there, full immersion. Moment when we see our problems as opportunities, moments when we are grateful not having a crystal ball where we can see the future, because can you imagine that mess if all of us had a crystal ball and we could see everything in front of us? I personally wouldn't take so many pathways in my life, and they are so important for me now looking back. Those paths I wouldn't take. No chance. That was horrible. And at the moment when I was living those stuff, that was horrible, truly. And I didn't like it. But afterwards, I truly learned how to appreciate those moments. It was tough game, but it was truly worth of the trouble. So nature is just one element that is all the time present in my life, and when I'm like Anastasia too, because you can somehow maybe recognize your pathway only by looking what is your truly your calling is hidden somewhere in between the lines. When you observe the stuff that you like to do, your hobby, your passion, your love, your dream about house where you can invite all of your friends. Well, basically, I'm doing just that. I'm not any kind of guide who knows the answers. I don't want crystal ball. There is no magic in anything that I do. It's just simply knowledge about chemistry and biochemistry and plants and phytoroma extracts and so on. Those are my elements and my tools. But what I'm creating is basically this. I'm inviting my friends to come with me and share experience in the woods. And that's how I treat everybody, because that's what we are over there in the nature. We're all just people walking around and finding interesting this and that. It is sort of life-changing moment for so many people. I did saw that in the people. They're a little bit dazzling. They're coming out of these experiences a little bit dazzling and head turning around, because it is a little bit like a bubble that is magical and moment of the peace and just full immersion. to be opposite of our stressful life and everyday noise, and it's almost like it's hitting us and shattering us in thousands of pieces, and we feel completely disconnected and as if we were puzzle completely made out of the pieces. And somehow in the nature, those pieces of the puzzle, although they are on the same place where you find them when you go in the nature somehow they are showing a bigger picture, as if we breathe in and out and we observe our own life as something much more realistic and without so much drama that we normally experience in our lives.
This is exactly, yeah, sorry, Leonie, if I'm interrupting you, but this just resonates so much with what I felt a couple of times. And I still, now I know what to expect, but every time I drive and I come closer to Gribashchice and I see the sea still from the from the road, it's really, I mean, the life feels much more real, and your things that you are panicking about in your normal life here, they absolutely they come in a completely different perspective. And for me, so my life experience, and it's still it's a iteration. So for me, it is iterations. It doesn't go away, but I know that I have an anchor now in my life where I can go and kind of recalibrate how I feel. But in the beginning, so I am. I think I have been chasing something for as long as I can remember myself. Yeah, so I build my career. I am supporting my family, earning money, and always chasing some next step. Yeah, and but then I started noticing that there is even when I achieve this next step. I don't get the feeling, oh, I want now to pause and enjoy. So there immediately comes the idea of the next step, and you are like in a hamster in the running in this in this thing and never stopping. And this was just not how I wanted to live my life. And this changes when I give myself really a place and a space to breathe and to reconnect with myself. We have said this formula many times, but it still remains very valid. So give yourself space and a place to reconnect with yourself. And indeed, like Mirna was just saying, life becomes much more real.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Listening to all of the stories, I think it also might be a bit helpful for people listening to understand a bit what the week of NovaVis actually looks like in practice. We've been talking about the philosophy and experiences, but maybe we can paint a small picture for participants will actually step into. So during the week in Croatia, participants step out of their normal environment for a few days and enter a program where different experiences come together. The moments of movement, grounding through yoga, meditation, the horse-guided sessions that help people see things about themselves that are sometimes difficult to put into words, the creative art master classes where people explore ideas and emotions in all different ways. And of course, what we talked about just now, the forest and aroma journey with Mirna, where people put down the phones and reconnect with their senses and the environment around them. but the week is not only about the sessions themselves, it's also about the moments in between. So walking together, talking together, cooking together, sharing dinners, and simply having the time and space to slow down and breathe again. So I think that mostly covered everything we will touch in the program. Mirna, thank you so much for sharing your story today. Listening to you, also reminded me how easy it is to move through life on autopilot, moving from one thing to another and not actually looking around me and feeling the sun on my face, for example. And I am looking forward to step into nature for a moment and remember just the very simple to enjoy what beauty there is around us, how to slow down and to breathe and to listen again, listening to the trees and the wind. And I think that's what NovaVis is about, creating a space where people can step away from the noise. Like you also said, the noise of everyday life and reconnect with nature, with themselves, and what truly matters, with the voice inside their head. And experiences like what you will do, Mirna, that's a beautiful part of that week. So thank you again. Thank you for being here with us today. And for everyone that's listening, if this resonates somehow with you, our first NovaVis program starts on April 17th in Croatia, and we would truly love to welcome you there. If you want more information, you can find it in the description of the episode. And thank you all for listening to another episode of NovaVis Conversations. Thank you, Mirna, and we'll see you in April.
Yeah, sure. And just remember, observe those photographies. This is a real world too. And there is so much peace, and look at these plants and look at this nature. I mean, just enjoy the life. It's a springtime. Go in the field and look up the daisies or this beautiful sea. That's magnificent. There is no, you don't need to search for magic. You just need to stop and be silent and enjoy yourself. That's all.
That's perfect. I absolutely agree. Let's take these couple of weeks until April and start doing that as well. And then we'll meet up in person in April.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
See you there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.